I don't remember deciding to walk here. One moment I was standing in my apartment, staring at the wall, and the next moment my feet were moving. Rain started somewhere between my front door and the lake, but I didn't go back for an umbrella. What would be the point? The fisherman's shack appears through the gray like it's been waiting. I've passed it before. Always dark, always empty. But tonight there's a thin line of yellow light beneath the door. And I think maybe someone left a lamp burning. Maybe no one's even there. My hand is on the door before I can talk myself out of it. It swings open, and he's there. Sitting at a small wooden table, hands wrapped around a clay cup. The room smells like wet wood and something herbal. Maybe tea, maybe just the lake wind carrying in through the cracks. There's one oil lamp on the table, throwing soft shadows up the walls. He looks up, not surprised, not concerned, just looks up the way you'd look up if you'd been expecting someone and they finally arrived. I open my mouth to apologize, to explain, to say I thought this place was abandoned, or I'm just passing through, or literally anything that would make me sound less insane than I feel. But what comes out instead is nothing. My throat closes. My eyes start burning. And I realize, standing there dripping rainwater onto his floor is less than Haitian. 0 hash is greater than that I haven't cried in front of another person in maybe 2 years. Maybe longer. I've gotten so good at holding it. He doesn't say, "What's wrong?" He doesn't say, "Come in," or "Are you okay?" or any of the things that would require me to pull myself together and lie. He just reaches beside him, picks up a thick wool blanket that was folded on the bench, and pushes it across the table toward the empty chair. "It's cold out there," he says. That's it. That's all he says. And something in my chest just cracks. I walk to the chair. My legs feel strange, like I'm moving through water. I sit down and pull the blanket around my shoulders, and it's heavy, heavier than I expected, and it smells like smoke and safety. The rain picks up outside. I can hear it drumming on the roof, sliding down the window in crooked streams. He's still holding his cup. Steam rises from it in a thin curl. His hands are carpenter's hands, scarred and steady. I don't know why I came here. I finally managed to say, he nods slowly, like that makes perfect sense. You don't have to know, he says. I wait for him to ask me something, to prompt me, to do what everyone does, which is try to fix me or understand me or make me explain myself into something manageable. But he doesn't. He just sits there, breathing, existing across from me like he has nowhere else to be. The lamp flickers. Outside, the lake is making low sounds against the shore. That rhythmic pull and release. Pull and release. I'm really tired, I hear myself say. And I don't mean sleepy. I mean tired in my bones. Tired in the part of me that has to wake up every morning and pretend I'm a person who wants to be awake. He sets his cup down, folds his hands on the table. I know, he says quietly. I can see it. Not in a pitying way. Not in a way that makes me feel seen through or exposed. Just factual. The way you'd say it's raining or the lamp is burning low. I look down at my hands. There's a coffee stain on my sleeve from 3 days ago that I haven't had the energy to wash out. My nails are bitten down. There's a small bruise on my wrist from where I knocked into the kitchen counter this morning because I wasn't paying attention. Because I'm never really paying attention anymore. Just moving through the day like a ghost through walls. I'm supposed to be doing better, I say. Everyone thinks I'm doing better. He tilts his head slightly. Are you? I laugh, but it comes out bitter. I'm very good at pretending. I bet you are, he says. And there's something in his voice, not admiration, something sadder. Like he knows exactly how much effort that takes. The wind wind shifts and rain spatters against the window in a sudden rush. I flinch without meaning to. He notices. Of course he notices. But he doesn't comment. He just stands up slowly, walks to a small wooden shelf, and picks up another cup. He pours tea from a pot I hadn't noticed. Something dark and herbal that steams in the cool air. He sets the cup in front of me, then sits back down. You don't have to drink it, he says. But it's there if you want it. I wrap my hands around the cup. The heat seeps into my palms, into my wrists, up my arms. I didn't realize how cold I was until now. I keep thinking something's wrong with me, I say quietly. Like everyone else got an instruction manual for being a person, and I just didn't. He's quiet for a long moment. Then he says, "What if nothing's wrong with you?" I look up sharply. "What if you're just tired?" He continues, "and sad, and doing the best you can with what you have." It should sound dismissive. It should sound like every other well-meaning person who doesn't understand. But it doesn't. It sounds like permission. I don't need to pretend to be loved. I don't need to pretend to be loved. The words rise up in my chest like something I used to know. Something I forgot. I don't know how to stop. I whisper. Stop what? Pretending, performing, being the version everyone needs me to be. He leans back in his chair. The wood creaks softly. His eyes are dark in the lamplight, but steady, so steady. You don't have to stop tonight, he says. You don't have to do anything tonight. Then what do I do? You sit here, he says simply. You drink your tea if you want. You listen to the rain. You let yourself be exactly as tired as you are. I feel my throat tighten again. That's it? That's it, he says. That's enough. The lamp flickers again. Shadows move across his face, but his expression doesn't change. Patient, unhurried, like he could sit here all night and it wouldn't matter. Like there's nowhere else in the world he needs to be. I take a sip of tea. It tastes like earth and honey and something I can't name. It's warm all the way down. Outside, the rain continues. Steady, relentless. But in here, in this small circle of lamplight, I feel something I haven't felt in months. Not hope exactly, just held. Like maybe I don't have to carry everything alone tonight. Like maybe I can set it down just for a minute, just while the rain falls and the lamp burns and this stranger with carpenter's hands sits across from me like he's been waiting. I close my eyes. I breathe. My existence itself has value. My existence itself has value. And for the first time in a very long time, I don't try to push the thought away. The tea is halfway gone before I realize I've been staring at the same knot in the wood table for I don't know how long. Maybe 5 minutes, maybe 20. Time feels strange in here, like it's moving at a different speed than the rest of the world. He hasn't said anything. Not so tell me what brought you here. Not do you want to talk about it. Not even are you feeling better. He's just sitting there, occasionally lifting his cup to his mouth, sometimes looking at the lamp, sometimes looking at nothing in particular. I should probably say something. Fill the silence. That's what you're supposed to do, right? When someone's being kind to you, you're supposed to at least try to make conversation. Be grateful. Be interesting. Be worth their time. But I'm so tired of performing. The rain has settled into a steady rhythm now. Not the harsh downpour from before, just a constant whisper against the roof. It sounds the way exhaustion feels. Endless. Patient. I watch him refill his own cup. His movements are slow, careful, like he's got all night and then some. The tea pours in a thin, dark stream. Steam rises and disappears into the shadows above the lamp. He sets the pot down, wraps both hands around the cup again. I notice his fingers are slightly crooked, the way fingers get when you've broken them and they healed wrong. There's a scar across his right palm, pale and old. You don't have to say anything, he says suddenly. I blink, look up at him. He's not looking at me. He's looking at his tea, watching the surface settle. People think silence means something's wrong. He continues quietly. Like if you're not talking, you must be uncomfortable, or upset, or need to be fixed. He takes a slow sip, but sometimes silence is just rest. Something in my chest loosens, just slightly, like a knot that's been pulled tight for so long I forgot it was there. I don't know what to say anyway. I admit. My voice comes out rough, unused. He nods. That's okay. Is it? Yeah, he says simply. It is. I pull the blanket tighter around my shoulders. Outside, somewhere in the darkness beyond the window, I hear the lake moving. That low sound of water against wood, against stone, against shore. Everyone wants me to explain it, I hear myself say. Like if I could just put it into words, it would make sense. Like there's supposed to be a reason. He's quiet for a moment. Is there? I shake my head. I don't think so. I mean, maybe there was at the beginning, but now it's just everything. The lamp makes a soft crackling sound, a bit of wick burning down. Everything, he repeats, not like he's asking me to elaborate, just acknowledging it. Yeah, I whisper, getting out of bed, brushing my teeth, answering texts, smiling when someone makes a joke. It all takes so much. My hands are shaking slightly around the cup. I press them down harder, trying to keep them still. And everyone's like, just do it anyway. It gets easier. You just have to push through. I can hear the bitterness creeping into my voice. But they don't get that I am pushing through every single day. And I'm so tired of pushing. The silence that follows feels different. Heavier. Like the air right before thunder. But he doesn't rush to fill it. Doesn't try to reassure me or tell me it'll be okay. He just breathes. In, out, slow and steady. I find myself matching it without meaning to. Breathing when he breathes. Like my body remembers something my mind forgot. You've been carrying a lot, he says finally. It's not a question. Just a statement. Simple. True. And something about the way he says it. Not "you're so strong" or "I don't know how you do it." Just acknowledgement. My eyes start burning again. I don't know how to put it down. I say quietly. He sets his cup on the table, leans forward slightly, is less than #2. 0 hash is greater than not invading my space. Just present. You don't have to know how, he says. You just have to be willing to let it go. I don't know if I can. Not all at once, he says. Not tonight. Maybe just one small thing. I look at him, really look at him for the first time since I sat down. His face is lined, weathered, like he spent years in the sun and wind. But his eyes are soft, impossibly soft. Like he's seen every terrible thing and somehow decided to stay gentle anyway. What thing? I ask. He thinks for a moment, then says, the idea that you owe anyone an explanation. I stare at him. You don't have to make sense to anyone, he continues. not even to yourself. You're allowed to just be here, exactly as you are, tired and sad and not okay. I can say nothing and still belong. I can say nothing and still belong. The words settle into my chest like stones sinking into deep water. I feel like if I stop explaining myself, I say slowly, people will think I don't care, or that I'm being difficult, or that I'm not trying. Let them think that, he says. It's so unexpected that I almost laugh. Just let them. Yeah. He picks up his cup again, takes another slow sip. Their thoughts about you aren't your responsibility. That feels wrong. I know, he says gently. You've been taught your whole life that you need to manage how people see you, that your worth depends on their approval. He sets the cup down again, folds his hands. But what if it doesn't? The rain picks up slightly. I hear it finding new paths down the window, new ways to fall. I don't know how to believe that, I whisper. You don't have to believe it tonight, he says. You just have to sit here with someone who already knows you're worth something, even if you can't feel it yet. My throat closes up. I look down at my tea. It's gone cold, but I take a sip anyway, just to have something to do with my hands. How do you know, I ask, that I'm worth something? He's quiet for a long moment. Then he says, because you're here. That's it? That's it, he says. You exist. That's enough. I want to argue, to list all the reasons why that can't possibly be true. But I'm too tired. And maybe, just maybe, I'm tired of arguing against my own existence. The lamp flickers, steadies. He stands up slowly, walks to the small stove in the corner, I hear the clink of the teapot, the quiet rush of liquid being poured. When he comes back, he refills my cup without asking if I want more. The steam rises between us is less than hashon. Zero hash is greater than carrying that same earthy smell. You know what I think? He says as he sits back down. What? I think you've been working very hard to convince everyone you're fine. He wraps his hands around his own cup, and I think that's exhausting. I nod. Can't speak. So maybe tonight, he continues, you don't have to convince me of anything. You can just sit there, drink your tea, be as not fine as you actually are. A tear slides down my cheek before I can stop it. Then another. I don't wipe them away. I'm too tired to even pretend I'm not crying. He doesn't comment on it. Doesn't hand me anything. Just lets me cry, quiet and messy, while the rain continues its steady rhythm overhead. After a while, I don't know how long, I hear myself say, I'm not fine. I know, he says softly. I haven't been fine in a really long time. I know. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be fine again. He's quiet. Then, maybe fine isn't the goal. I look up at him through blurred vision. Maybe the goal is just here, he says. Right now, breathing, present, not alone. My existence itself has value. My existence itself has value. The words feel less foreign this time. Like maybe I could hold them without them slipping through my fingers. Can I just sit here? Is less than hashon. Zero hash is greater than I ask. For a while, you can sit here as long as you need, he says. I might not say anything. That's okay. I might just be Good, he says simply. Sometimes being is the bravest thing you can do. I close my eyes, let my head rest back against the wall. The wood is rough and solid behind me. The rain continues. The lamp burns. He sits across from me, steady as stone, asking nothing. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I let myself just stop. Stop performing. Stop explaining. Stop trying to be anything other than exactly what I am right now. Tired. Sad. Here. And somehow held. I don't know when I started talking. One moment I was sitting in silence, eyes closed, listening to the rain, and the next moment words were coming out. Slow at first, then faster, like something had cracked open and couldn't be closed again. I practice in the mirror. I hear myself say, every morning, before I leave the house, he doesn't say anything, just listens. I stand there and I try on different faces. I continue. Different versions of okay. There's the casual one, like, oh hey, yeah, I'm good, just tired from work. There's the bright one, the one that smiles too much so people won't ask questions. And there's the neutral one, the one that just doesn't show anything at all. My hands are wrapped around the teacup, but I'm not drinking. Just holding it, feeling the heat seep into my palms. I pick whichever one I think will work that day. I say quietly, whichever mask fits the situation. And then I put it on, and I don't take it off until I get home. The lamp makes that soft crackling sound again. He shifts slightly in his chair, and I finally look up at him. His face hasn't changed. No shock. No pity, no disappointment. He's just listening. That sounds tiring, he says simply. And something about the way he says it. Not why do you do that? Or, you shouldn't have to do that. Just recognition. It is. I whisper. God, it really is. Outside, the rain shifts direction. I hear it hitting a different part of the roof, finding new wood to drum against. My friend texted me yesterday. I say, asked how I was doing, and I typed out, not great, and then deleted it. Typed, kind of struggling, and deleted that too. Ended up just saying, I'm good thanks, with a smiley face emoji. I laugh, but it sounds bitter. Because that's what you do, right? You don't burden people with the truth. You give them the easy answer, the one that doesn't require follow-up questions or concern or anything. He's quiet for a long moment. Then he says, I saw that. I blink. What? This morning, he says softly, I saw you standing in front of your bathroom mirror, trying to make your face do something it didn't want to do. My breath catches. You kept pushing the corners of your mouth up. He continues, his voice so gentle it almost hurts. Checking to see if the smile reached your eyes. It didn't. So you tried again. And again. Until you got something that looked convincing enough. I feel my throat closing up. You saw that? Yeah, he says. I see a lot of things. Then you know, I whisper, you know it's all fake. I know you're trying very hard, he says. I know you think if you stop trying, everything will fall apart. He leans forward slightly, not invading my space, just present. But what if I told you it's already fallen apart? I stare at him. What if the thing you're trying so hard to hold together already broke? His eyes are steady on mine. And what if that's okay? It's not okay, I say, and my voice cracks. If people knew, if they really knew how not okay I am, They'd what? They'd leave, I say quietly. They think I'm too much, too heavy, too broken to be worth the effort. The words hang in the air between us, raw and ugly and true. He doesn't rush to contradict me, doesn't say no they wouldn't or you're not broken. He just sits with it, lets the truth of how I feel exist without trying to fix it. Maybe some of them would, he says finally. I wasn't expecting that. I look up sharply. Maybe some people can't handle it, he continues. Maybe some people need you to be okay because they don't know what to do when you're not. He picks up his cup, takes a slow sip, sets it down again. But that's not about you being too much, he says. That's about them not having enough room. I feel something shift in my chest. Something small but significant. I can remove my mask and still be accepted, I say slowly, testing the words. I can remove my mask and still be accepted. They don't feel true yet, but they don't feel impossible either. You can, he says quietly. You already are, right now. In this room, with me. I look at him, really look at him, at the way he's sitting, relaxed and open, like he's got nowhere else to be, at the way his hands rest on the table, scarred and steady, at the way his eyes hold mine without flinching. I'm not wearing a mask right now, I realize out loud. No, he says. You're not. And you're still here. I'm still here. The rain has gotten quieter. Or maybe I've just gotten used to it. It's become background noise, like breathing, like the sound of the lake water moving beyond the walls. I had this coworker last month, I say, surprising myself. She asked if I was okay because I looked tired, and I said, yeah, just didn't sleep well. And she said, oh, same. I was up late binge watching that new show. I traced the rim of my cup with one finger. And I remember thinking, we're using the same words, but we're talking about completely different things. She's tired from staying up by choice. I'm tired from lying awake at 3 in the morning, trying to remember why I should bother waking up at 7. He nods slowly. Different languages. Yeah, I say, and I can't explain the difference without sounding dramatic or attention-seeking or like I'm trying to win some competition for who has it worse. So you don't explain, he says. So I don't explain, I echo. I just smile and say, yeah, I hate that, and move on. The lamp flickers. I watch the shadows dance across his face. Do you want to know the worst part? I ask. Tell me. I've gotten so good at it, I say, and my voice drops to almost a whisper. So good at pretending that sometimes I forget I'm doing it. Sometimes I'm in the middle of a conversation and I'm laughing and nodding and saying all the right things. And then I get home and I look in the mirror and I think, who was that? Because it wasn't me. I press my palms against my eyes. Hard enough to see stars. I don't know who I am anymore without the performance. I admit, I've been acting for so long that I don't know what's real. The silence that follows feels infinite. Then I hear him stand up. The scrape of his chair against the floor. Footsteps moving around the table. I lower my hands. He's standing beside me now. Not touching. Just close. Can I show you something? He asks gently. I nod, not trusting my voice. He reaches out slowly, is less than hay shown. 0 hash is greater than giving me time to pull away if I want to, and takes my hand. His palm is warm and rough. He turns my hand over, so my palm faces up. This is real, he says, tracing a line across my palm with one finger. The way your hand is shaking, that's real. He touches the inside of my wrist, where my pulse is jumping. "This is real," he says. "Your heart racing, your breath catching, the tears you're trying not to cry right now." He lets go of my hand, but doesn't step away. "The performance is what you do," he says quietly. "But underneath it, this is who you are, scared and tired and trying so hard to survive." A tear slides down my cheek, then another. "That's real," he says. "And that's enough." "It doesn't feel like enough," I whisper. "I know," he says. "But feeling like it's not enough doesn't make it true." He moves back to his chair, sits down, picks up his tea like this is the most natural conversation in the world. "You know what I think?" he says. "What?" "I think you've been very brave," he says simply. "Not because you kept going, not because you smiled through it, but because you walked through that door tonight, because you let yourself be seen." I wipe my face with the back of my hand. My sleeve comes away wet. "I didn't mean to," I admit. "I just ended up here." Sometimes the bravest things we do, we don't mean to do, he says. Sometimes we just finally stop running. I look down at my hands. They're still shaking slightly, but less than before. Like something in me is starting to settle. What if I can't go back? I ask quietly. What if after tonight, I can't put the mask back on? He's quiet for a moment. Then he says, would that be so bad? I don't know how to live without it. Maybe you're not supposed to know, he says. Maybe you're just supposed to try. One day, 1 hour, one moment of being honest about how you feel. I close my eyes, let my head fall back against the wall. I can remove my mask and still be accepted. I can remove my mask and still be accepted. The words settle a little deeper this time. Like maybe, just maybe, they could be true. I'm tired of pretending. I whisper into the darkness behind my eyelids. Then stop, he says simply. At least for tonight. At least in here. The rain has become a whisper now. Soft and constant, like the world outside is trying to be gentle. I keep my eyes closed. Keep breathing. And for the first time in longer than I can remember, I let my face do nothing at all. No smile, no neutral expression, just whatever it wants to be. And somehow, that feels like the most honest thing I've done in years. I don't know how long we sit there in silence. Could be 5 minutes. Could be 20. Time doesn't seem to work right in this room. At some point, I open my eyes. He's looking out the window, or trying to. The glass is so streaked with rain and condensation that there's nothing to see but dark shapes in water. Do you know what I hate most? I say suddenly. He turns back to me, waits. I hate that I know better. I say, I know all the right things. I know I should be kind to myself. I know my worth isn't based on productivity. I know comparison is pointless. I know all of it. My hands tighten around the cup. But knowing doesn't change anything. I continue. I still wake up feeling like garbage. I still think I'm failing at everything. I still feel like I'm not enough. The last word comes out broken. It's like there's this gap, I say, pressing my palm against my chest. Between what I know up here, I tap my temple, and what I feel in here, I press harder against my chest, and I can't close it, no matter how hard I try. He nods slowly, like he understands completely. You can't think your way out of this, he says quietly. Then what do? I ask, and I hear the desperation in my voice. Because I've tried everything. Therapy, medication, journaling, meditation, positive affirmations, exercise, better sleep, saying no to things, saying yes to things. I'm talking faster now. Can't seem to stop. I've read all the books, listened to all the podcasts, tried all the coping strategies, and some days I feel a little better and I think maybe this is it. Maybe I finally figured it out. And then I wake up the next morning and it's all back and I'm right where I started. My voice cracks. I take a shaky breath. So what's the point? I whisper. What's the point of trying when nothing actually changes? The silence that follows feels heavy, not uncomfortable, just full. Then he stands up, slowly walks to the window. He puts his hand on the glass, fingers spread wide. The lamplight behind us turns his palm golden. Come here, he says softly. I hesitate, then push myself up from the chair. My legs feel stiff. I walk over and stand next to him. Look, he says, pointing at the window. I look. All I see is water running down the glass in crooked lines, distortion, blurriness. What am I looking at? The dust, he says. I lean closer, and I see it now. Tiny particles of dirt and dust stuck to the glass, little specks and smudges that have collected over time. This window hasn't been cleaned in months, is less than hash-own. 0 hash is greater than he says. Maybe longer. The dust just builds up, layer after layer. You don't even notice it happening. He traces a line down the glass where the rain is running. But then it rains, he says, and the water comes down, and slowly, little by little, the dust starts to wash away. I watch the water move, See how it picks up the tiny particles and carries them down. It doesn't happen all at once. He continues. One rainstorm doesn't make it perfect, but it makes it cleaner than it was. And the next rain cleans it a little more. And eventually, you can see through it again. He turns to look at me. The rain doesn't clean the glass because the dust is dirty, he says gently. The rain cleans it simply because rain came. I stare at him, feel something shifting in my chest. You think the problem is you, he says. You think you're the dust, something wrong that needs to be fixed, something dirty that needs to be cleaned. He shakes his head slowly. But you're not the dust, he says. You're the window, and the dust is just life, pain, trauma, loss, all the things that have collected on you over time. I feel tears starting again. Can't seem to stop them. It's not your fault it's there, he says quietly. And you don't need to be perfect to deserve the rain. I don't need to be perfect to be loved. I don't need to be perfect to be loved. The words feel different this time. Less like something I'm trying to believe. More like something I'm starting to understand. But what if the rain doesn't work? I whisper. What if I'm too broken? He looks at me for a long moment. Then he reaches out and touches the window again, right where a crack runs through the glass. This window is cracked, he says. Has been for years, probably. See this line here? I nod. The crack doesn't stop the rain from cleaning it, he says. Doesn't make the window less of a window. It's still doing its job. Still letting light in. Still keeping the wind out. He turns to face me fully. Broken things can still be beautiful, he says softly. Can still be useful. Can still be loved. I press my hand against the glass next to his. Feel the cold seep through my palm. Feel the slight vibration of the rain hitting it. I'm so tired of feeling like this, I say. I know. I'm tired of waking up heavy, of dragging myself through the day, of going to bed knowing tomorrow will be the same. I know, he says again. When does it get better? I ask, and my voice breaks completely. When does the rain finally wash me clean? He's quiet for so long, I think maybe he won't answer. Then he says, "It already is." I look up at him sharply. You think healing looks like waking up one day and everything's fixed? He says. But that's not how it works. Healing is tonight, walking through that door, saying the true things, crying without apologizing for it. He gestures to the window. Every moment you choose honesty over performance, he says. That's the rain. Every time you let yourself feel what you're actually feeling instead of what you think you should feel, that's the rain. Every time you show up as you are instead of who you think people need you to be, that's the rain. I'm crying fully now. Not trying to hide it or stop it. You keep waiting for some big moment, he says gently. Some dramatic change where suddenly everything makes sense. But healing is quieter than that. It's small, ordinary. It's standing at a window with someone who sees you and choosing to believe, just for a second, that maybe you're worth being seen. He steps back from the window, moves toward the table. I stay there, hand pressed against the cold glass, watching the rain continue its patient work. Layer after layer, slowly, gently, I don't need to be perfect to be loved. I don't need to be perfect to be loved. And maybe, just maybe, that's starting to feel true. When I turn away from the window, he's already back in his chair, not waiting impatiently, not watching me, just sitting there with his hands folded on the table, looking at nothing in particular. I walk back slowly. My legs feel heavier than before, like I've been walking for hours instead of just standing at a window. I sink into the chair and pull the blanket tighter around my shoulders. The tea in my cup has gone cold. I drink it anyway. Can I ask you something? I say after a while. Yeah. Do you ever get tired? He looks at me. There's something in his eyes I can't quite read. Of what? Of this. I gesture vaguely. Of listening to people like me. Broken people who can't get their shit together. Who keep coming back with the same problems. You think you're the same as before? He asks quietly. I don't know. I admit. Am I? He tilts his head slightly. Studies me. When you walked in tonight, he says, you couldn't look at me. You were holding yourself so tight I thought you might shatter. Now you're asking me questions, looking me in the eye, drinking cold tea because you don't want to bother me to heat it up. I blink. That's nothing. That's everything, he says simply. The rain shifts again. I hear it finding new paths, new rhythms. It's been raining for so long now that I can't remember what silence sounds like. I don't feel different, I say. You wouldn't, he says. That's the thing about healing. You don't feel it happening. You just wake up one day and realize you took a breath without thinking about it. Or you laughed at something and it wasn't forced. Or you made it through a whole conversation without calculating every word. He leans back in his chair. The wood creaks softly. But by then you've already changed, he says. You just didn't notice it happening. I look down at my hands. They're not shaking anymore. I didn't notice when they stopped. I'm scared, I hear myself say. Of what? Of leaving here, I say quietly. Of going back out there and forgetting this, forgetting that I don't have to perform. That I can just be. He nods slowly, like he expected this. You will forget, he says. I look up sharply. You'll go back to work and someone will ask how you are and you'll say fine before you even think about it. He continues. You'll put on the smile. You'll do the performance. Because that's what you know. That's what feels safe. My chest tightens. Then what's the point of tonight? The point, he says gently, is that now you'll know you're doing it. You'll feel the mask go on. And maybe, just maybe, there'll be a moment where you choose to take it off. He leans forward, rests his arms on the table. Change doesn't happen all at once, he says. It happens in tiny moments of choice. Someone asks how you are. You could say fine. Or you could say, actually, I'm struggling today. That's a choice. A small one. But it matters. I feel tears starting again. I'm so tired of crying. I don't know if I can do that. I whisper. You don't have to do it every time, he says. Just once. And then maybe once more. And eventually it gets easier. Not easy, but easier. The lamp flickers. The flame is burning lower now. We've been here longer than I thought. Watch me, he says suddenly. I look up at him. He's sitting very still, hands flat on the table, eyes closed. I'm going to breathe, he says quietly. And I want you to breathe with me. Why? Because right now, you're holding your breath without knowing it, he says. And your body thinks there's danger. So we're going to teach it there isn't. I realize he's right. My chest is tight. My breathing shallow. I've been sitting here suffocating myself and didn't even notice. Just watch, he says. I watch. His chest rises. Slowly, so slowly I can count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. He holds it for a moment, then releases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. His whole body seems to sink deeper into the chair, like gravity is pulling him down, like he's letting himself be heavy. Now you, he says softly, eyes still closed. I try to copy him. Breathe in slow. But my breath hitches halfway, catches on something in my throat. It's okay, he says. Try again. I do. In through my nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Out through my mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My shoulders drop. Just slightly. Good, he says quietly. Again. We breathe together. In, hold, out. In, hold, out. I start to match his rhythm without trying, like two pendulums swinging in sync, like we're part of the same system. The rain becomes part of it too. The steady fall of water on the roof, the lake lapping at the shore, everything moving in the same slow pulse. My chest loosens. My jaw unclenches. I feel my body sinking deeper into the chair, into the blanket, into this moment. You're safe, he says softly. Right now, in this moment, you're safe. I allow myself to slow down is less than #2. 0 hash is greater than I allow myself to slow down. The words feel like permission I didn't know I needed. We keep breathing. I lose track of how many times. Could be 10. Could be 50. All I know is that with each breath, something in me softens. Something lets go. Not the pain, not the sadness, but the grip I've had on them, the tension I've been holding trying to control them. That's it, he says quietly. Just like that. I open my eyes. He's looking at me now. How do you feel? He asks. I take a moment to check. Really check. Heavier. I say finally, but in a good way, like I'm actually in my body instead of just floating above it. He nods. That's what grounded feels like. I forgot. I whisper. I forgot what this feels like. I know, he says gently, but your body remembers. It's been waiting for you to come back. I look down at my hands again, turn them over, study the lines in my palms. When I leave here, I say slowly, and I start to feel like I'm drowning again. What do I do? You breathe, he says simply. 4 in, 6 out. You do it until your body remembers it's safe. That's it? That's it, he says. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to solve everything. You just have to breathe, and then take the next breath, and then the next. I close my eyes again. Take another slow breath. 4 in, 6 out. I allow myself to slow down. I allow myself to slow down. And for the first time in so long, my body believes me. The breathing has settled into something automatic now. In, out, in, out. I don't have to think about it anymore. My body just does it. Tell me about today. he says quietly. I open my eyes. Today? Before you came here, he says. What happened? I shake my head. Nothing happened. That's the problem. It was just another day. Tell me anyway. I look down at my hands, pick at a loose thread on the blanket. I woke up at noon. I say finally. Alarm had been going off since 8, but I just couldn't. My whole body felt like cement. He nods. Doesn't say anything. I had things to do. I continue. Emails to answer. Laundry piling up. Dishes in the sink from 3 days ago. I kept thinking I should get up. I should do something. But I just laid there. The rain shifts, gets a little heavier for a moment, then settles back into its rhythm. Finally got up around 1. I say, made coffee, sat on the couch, stared at my laptop for 2 hours without opening it. Told myself I'd start working at 3, then 4, then 5. My voice is flat, empty. Never did, I say. Just sat there, feeling like shit about sitting there, but still not moving. And then it got dark. Is less than has shown. 0 hash is greater than I, say quietly. And I realized I'd wasted another whole day, that I'm falling further behind, that everyone else is out there living their lives and I'm just stuck. I pull the blanket tighter. So I put on my shoes and started walking. I say. Didn't know where I was going. Just knew I couldn't stay in that apartment anymore. Couldn't sit with that feeling. And somehow I ended up here. The silence that follows feels different. Not empty, full of something I can't name. You think you wasted today? He says finally. I did waste it, I say. I got nothing done. I was completely useless. You survived it, he says quietly. I look up at him. You woke up, he says. You got out of bed eventually. You made coffee. You kept breathing even when it felt pointless. You walked here. You're sitting here right now. He leans forward slightly. That's not nothing, he says. That's everything. It doesn't feel like everything, I whisper. It feels like failure. I know it does, he says gently. Because you're measuring yourself against some imaginary standard of what you should be accomplishing. But you're not asking yourself the right question. What's the right question? He's quiet for a moment, then says, Did you make it through? Something in my chest tightens. That's it? I ask. That's the bar? Just surviving? On days like today, he says. Yeah. That's the bar. And you cleared it. I feel tears starting again. Hot and bitter. That's pathetic, I say. Everyone else is out there achieving things and building lives, and I'm over here celebrating the fact that I didn't. What? Die today? Yes, he says simply. I stare at him. You're celebrating that you didn't die today, he says. Because some days, that's the victory. Some days just making it to tomorrow is heroic. It doesn't feel heroic. It wouldn't, he says. That's the thing about depression. It convinces you that survival doesn't count. That unless you're productive or happy or moving forward, you're failing. But that's a lie. He picks up his cup, takes a slow sip even though the tea must be cold by now. You know what I see when I look at your day? He says. What? I see someone fighting, he says quietly. Fighting to get out of bed. fighting to make coffee, fighting to keep existing even when everything in them wants to stop. That's not laziness. That's not failure. That's courage. My hands are shaking again. I press them flat on the table. I don't feel courageous. I whisper. I feel broken. You can be both is less than Haishon. Zero hash is greater than he says. The lamp flickers. The flame is really low now. I watch the shadows dance across the walls. My mom called today. I hear myself say. Left a voicemail asking how I'm doing, saying she's worried about me. I didn't call her back. Why not? Because I'd have to lie, I say. I'd have to tell her I'm fine, that work is good, that I'm taking care of myself. And I'm so tired of lying, but I can't tell her the truth because it would just worry her more, make her feel helpless, make everything worse. He's quiet for a long moment. What if you told her you're having a hard time? He says finally. She'd want to fix it, I say. She'd tell me to try yoga or get more sunlight or talk to my doctor about changing meds. She means well, but she doesn't understand that none of that matters when you can't even get out of bed. So you carry it alone, he says softly. Yeah, I whisper. I carry it alone. The rain picks up again. Steady, patient, like it has all the time in the world. You don't have to carry it alone tonight, he says. I look up at him. I know today felt like failure, he says. I know you think you should have done more, been more, but what if today was exactly what it needed to be? What do you mean? What if today was your body saying, I can't do this anymore, is less than Haishon. Zero hash is greater than I need to stop, he says. What if lying on that couch was the most honest thing you could have done? What if you were supposed to walk until you ended up here? Living itself is my victory. Living itself is my victory. The words settle somewhere deep in my chest. Not all the way down yet, but closer than before. I'm so tired of measuring my worth by what I accomplish. I say quietly. Then stop. He says simply. How? By choosing to believe that your worth was decided before you ever did anything, he says. Before you achieved anything or failed at anything, you were born worthy. Nothing you do or don't do changes that. I don't know how to believe that. You don't have to know how, he says gently. You just have to sit here on a day when you think you failed at everything, and let me tell you that you didn't. That you succeeded at the only thing that matters. What's that? You kept going, he says. Even when you didn't want to. Even when it felt impossible. You kept going. I close my eyes. Feel the weight of the day pressing down on me. But somehow it feels lighter than before. Like maybe I can carry it just a little further. Living itself is my victory. Living itself is my victory. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough for tonight. We sit in silence for a while after that. I don't know how long. Could be minutes. Could be more. Time has stopped meaning anything in here. The rain has softened to almost nothing. Just a whisper against the roof. The occasional drip finding its way down. I feel heavy. So heavy. Not the bad kind of heavy. The kind that pins you down and won't let you move. This is different. This is the heavy of finally stopping. Of letting your body remember what it feels like to rest. I can feel you thinking, he says quietly. I opened my eyes. Didn't realize I'd closed them. What am I thinking? I ask. You're wondering if you're allowed to stay here, he says. If you've taken up enough of my time, if you should probably go. He's right. That's exactly what I was thinking. You can stay as long as you need, he says before I can respond. I feel like I've been here forever, I say softly. Good, he says. Time works different when you're healing. It stretches, makes room for what needs to happen. He stands up slowly, walks around behind me. I tense automatically. Old habit. It's okay, he says gently. I'm just going to put my hands on your shoulders, if that's all right. I nod. Can't speak. His hands settle on my shoulders. Warm, solid, not pressing down, just there. You've been holding yourself up for so long, he says quietly, keeping everything locked in place so you don't fall apart. His thumbs rest gently near my neck. I can feel my pulse under them. But you don't have to hold yourself up right now, he says. You can let go. Just for tonight. I've got you. Something in me cracks, not breaks, opens. I feel it starting in my shoulders. This tension I didn't even know was there. Years of it maybe, just dissolving. That's it, he says softly. Let gravity do the work. My shoulders drop, then drop more. I didn't know they could go this low. Feel that? He asks. Yeah, I whisper. That's what it feels like to stop fighting, he says. To let the weight go down instead of holding it up. I feel something moving through my body, starting at my shoulders and traveling down, through my chest, my stomach, my legs. Everything just softening. You're not going to fall, he says quietly, even though it feels like you might. The chair is holding you. The floor is holding the chair. The earth is holding all of it. You're not going anywhere. My head tips forward slightly, too heavy to hold up anymore. good, he says. Just like that. His hands don't move. Is less than #2. 0 hash is greater than just rest there. Steady and warm. No pressure. No expectation. Just presence. I don't remember the last time someone touched me, I hear myself say. I mean, really touched me. Not a handshake or a quick hug. Just this. I know, he says softly. It's been so long since I felt safe enough to let anyone close. I say, I forgot what it was like. You're remembering now, he says. And I am. I'm remembering what it feels like to not have to hold everything together, to let someone else carry some of the weight, to trust that I won't be dropped. Tears start again. Silent this time, just sliding down my face without sound. Let them come, he says quietly. They're not weakness, they're release. My whole body is shaking now. Not from fear, from finally letting go of something I've been holding for too long. I'm so tired, I whisper. I know. I'm so tired of carrying this. I know, he says again. So give it to me. I don't know how. You're already doing it, he says gently. Every time you let your shoulders drop, every time you take a breath and let it out slow, every time you stop trying to be strong and just let yourself be held, that's how. I feel his hands press down just slightly. Not pushing, just reminding me they're there. Imagine it, he says softly. All that weight you've been carrying, the shame, the fear, the exhaustion, the feeling that you're not enough. Imagine it like stones in your pockets. I can see it. Heavy stones weighing me down. Now imagine taking them out, he says. One at a time, and setting them on the ground. You don't have to carry them anymore. I picture it, reaching into my pocket, pulling out a stone, letting it drop. My shoulders drop even further. Another one, he says quietly. Another stone. This one feels heavier. The one that says I'm failing, that I'm letting everyone down. I pull it out, let it fall. Good, he says. Keep going. Stone after stone, each one something I've been carrying. The belief that I have to be perfect. The fear that if people really knew me, they'd leave. The exhaustion of pretending. The weight of all those practiced smiles. I let them all go. One by one, down to the floor, down into the earth. I cast all my burdens on him because he cares for me. I whisper, I cast all my burdens on him because he cares for me. Yes, he says softly. That's exactly right. My body feels different now. Lighter but heavier at the same time. Like I'm more solid. More here. More real. You're going to be okay is less than hash shown. Zero hash is greater than, he says quietly. I don't feel okay. Not yet, he says. But you will. Not tomorrow, probably. Maybe not even next week. But you will. His hands stay on my shoulders. Steady, patient. How do you know? I ask. Because you're here, he says simply. Because you walk through that door. Because you're still breathing even when it's hard. People who give up don't do that. They stop. But you're still going. I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. You don't have to go anywhere, he says. You just have to be here. Right now, in this moment, letting yourself be held. The rain has stopped completely now. I didn't notice when. There's just the sound of water dripping from the eaves. Slow, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. "Stay with me a little longer," he says softly. "Don't rush this." I wasn't planning to move. Don't think I could if I wanted to. My body has finally remembered what it feels like to rest. Really rest. And it doesn't want to let go of it. His hands stay on my shoulders, warm and steady and sure. I close my eyes again, let myself sink even deeper into the chair, into the blanket, into this moment where I don't have to be anything except exactly what I am. Tired, broken, held. I cast all my burdens on him because he cares for me. I cast all my burdens on him because he cares for me. And for the first time in so long, I believe it might be true. His hands eventually leave my shoulders, but I can still feel them there. The warmth, the weight, like they left an imprint. He moves back around to his chair, sits down slowly. The wood creaks in that familiar way. I open my eyes. The lamp is barely burning now, just a small flame throwing soft shadows. Everything feels dimmer, quieter, like the whole world has gone to sleep except us. "What time is it?" I ask. He glances toward the window. "Late," he says. "Or early. Depends how you look at it." I should probably go. Should probably head home. But the thought of leaving this room, of going back out into the cold, of being alone again, I can't. "You can stay," he says, like he heard my thoughts. "Here?" "Here," he says. There's a cot in the corner. Not much, but it's warm. You can sleep if you want. I look where he's pointing. There is a cot there. I don't know how I didn't see it before. A thin mattress, a pillow, another blanket folded at the foot. I don't want to impose, I say automatically. He smiles slightly. You couldn't impose if you tried. I stand up slowly. My legs feel strange, loose and heavy at the same time, like I've been sitting for hours. Maybe I have. I walk to the cot, sit down on the edge. Is less than #2. 0 hash is greater than. The mattress is worn but soft. Smells like cedar and lake air. Lie down, he says gently. I do. Stretch out on my back. Pull the blanket up over me. It's heavy and rough, the kind that holds heat. The ceiling is wood beams, dark and crossed. I trace them with my eyes. Follow the lines. Comfortable? He asks. Yeah, I whisper. More than I've been in a long time. He's still sitting at the table. I can see him from here, just sitting, watching the lamp burn down. Are you going to sleep? I ask. Eventually, he says. But I'll stay up a while, just in case you need anything. You don't have to do that. I know, he says simply. The silence settles over us again, but it doesn't feel empty. It feels full, safe, like being wrapped in something warm. I'm scared about tomorrow, I say quietly. I know. I'm scared I'll wake up and all of this will feel like a dream. I say that I'll go back to my apartment and it'll be the same as before. The same heaviness, the same exhaustion, like tonight didn't matter. He's quiet for a moment, then says, "It will be hard tomorrow." I wasn't expecting that. I turn my head to look at him. "I'm not going to lie to you," he says gently. "Tomorrow is going to be hard. You're going to wake up and the weight is going to be there. The darkness is going to be there. The fear that nothing has changed. My chest tightens. But here's what else will be there," he says. "The memory of tonight. The knowledge that you can breathe through it. The understanding that surviving is enough. that you don't have to be perfect to be loved. He leans forward slightly. It won't fix everything, he says. One night can't undo years of pain, but it can remind you that you're not alone in it, that there's a place you can come back to, even if it's just in your memory. I feel tears starting again. I thought I was done crying, but apparently not. What if I forget? I whisper. You won't forget, he says quietly. Your body will remember even if your mind doesn't. It'll remember what it feels like to breathe slow, to let your shoulders drop, to be held without having to earn it. He stands up, walks over to the cot, kneels down beside it so we're eye level. Listen to me, he says softly. I nod. Tomorrow doesn't exist yet, he says. All we have is right now. This moment, you in this bed, me beside you, the sound of the lake outside, the warmth of the blanket, that's all that's real. His eyes are so gentle, it hurts to look at them. Right now you are safe, he says. Right now you are held. Right now you are exactly where you need to be. That's enough. For tonight, that's more than enough. Right now I am safe. Right now I am safe. The words settle into my bones. Not just my mind, deeper than that, into the part of me that's been holding my breath for years. Close your eyes, he says gently. I do. Feel the mattress under you, he says. Feel how it's holding you up. You don't have to do anything. Just let it hold you. I feel it. The solid surface beneath me, supporting every part of me. Feel the blanket on top of you. He continues. Heavy and warm, like being wrapped in something safe. The weight of it presses down gently, comforting. Feel your breath moving in and out, he says. Slow and steady. You don't have to control it. Just notice it. Now feel me here beside you, he says softly. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here all night. You can sleep. You can rest. Nothing is required of you. My whole body softens, sinks deeper into the mattress, deeper into this moment. Tomorrow can wait, he whispers. All the worry, all the fear, all the questions about what comes next, they can wait. Tonight you just sleep. I feel him move slightly, sense him standing up, walking back to the table. But I can still feel his presence, still know he's there, keeping watch, holding space. The lamp must have burned down to almost nothing. Even through closed eyes, I can tell the room is darker, quieter. Outside, the lake is making its gentle sounds. The soft lap of water against shore, patient, endless, like breathing. My body feels heavy in the best way, like I'm sinking into the earth, like gravity is finally on my side. I don't remember the last time I felt this tired, and it didn't feel like punishment. This feels like relief, like my body finally has permission to stop. Right now, I am safe. Right now, I am safe. And tonight, that's all I need to know. Tomorrow will come, with all its weight and worry, with all its questions and fears. But tonight, right now, I can let it wait. I can just be here. In this small room, by this quiet lake, with someone who sees me completely and hasn't looked away. Someone who says my broken pieces are still beautiful. That my tired is enough. That surviving today was victory. I don't have to understand it all tonight. Don't have to fix anything. Don't have to become anyone different. I just have to breathe and rest and let myself be held by this moment. The darkness behind my eyelids is soft now, not threatening, just quiet, like the world has finally stopped demanding things from me. I feel sleep pulling at me. Gentle, patient, not rushing me, just waiting. And for once, I'm not afraid of it. I let myself drift, let myself go into the warmth, the weight, the knowing that I am safe. Right now, this moment, this breath, that's all there is. And it's enough.